Welcome back, everybody. Let's go to Kansas City, where Arrowhead Stadium was a sea of yellow last night, with Colombian fans converging on KC to watch their national team beat Ghana. So John Arias converted a Luis Suarez cross in the 14th minute for the eventual winner in a 1-0 victory, and Ghana failed to register a single shot on goal on a night when the Colombians controlled the action on the way to a win that booked their place in the round of 16. They're now going to be facing Switzerland on Tuesday. So here is a list of Colombia's best World Cup finishes, and they've reached this stage 2 times, in 1990 and 2018. The best they have ever finished in a World Cup was in 2014, when they reached the quarter-finals, but they're going to have to get past Switzerland if they want to repeat that. So Colombia's second ever World Cup knockout stage win, their first one since 2014. Jimmy, do you think this Colombia side is better than the side we saw in 2014?
Ooh. Yes, I do. I think because they're more of a collective. Everything in 2014 felt like it was built around James Rodriguez, and he was a Golden Boot winner and scored some tremendous goals for them. It's interesting, when I think about Colombia, they've only made one quarterfinal, same as the U.S. So I feel some bonding with the Colombians in some capacity, that they maybe should be aspiring for more, and they're in a position to do that in this particular tournament. They've been excellent. Yeah. They beat Uzbekistan. That took them a little while to get going in that one. It was 1-1 until about the 70th minute, and then they scored 2 more and made it 3-1. Against Congo, they won that one 1-0. And then Portugal, they dominated that game, but that was 0-0. And again, against Ghana, 1-0. Like, they're not... My only concern for them in this tournament is finishing their chances. And those margins are going to get thinner and thinner and thinner as you go farther in the tournament.
I think their defense is one of the best in the tournament.
It's been very
One goal
good.
Conceded, but that partnership of Davinson Sanchez, John Lukumi, I think has been brilliant. Munoz, the right back of Crystal Palace, has been, to me, one of the standout players in the tournament, the way that he can push forward. They feel super energetic, sometimes, I wouldn't say erratic, but they feel like the way that they press as a collective is really inspiring, right? And Jaydee, you made a great point about no excuses about the weather and everything. You're absolutely right. Like, every team is coming to this in mid-season, after a long season. The tournament's kicking off. It's hot in pretty much every stadium. There's some that are at altitude. These guys, though, they look the freshest. They look the freshest out of any team. The way that they're pressing after they lose the ball is something that it feels like they have an extra gear that some teams, and maybe even Argentina last night, didn't have. So I am super high on this Colombia team. From top to bottom, Lucho Diaz is probably what James Rodriguez was in 2014. I expected Lucho Diaz to be that here. Luis Suarez, we still haven't seen him get into form, but he just had a great season in the Portuguese league. I think he scored nearly 30 goals. So they're stacked top to bottom.
I'm actually so impressed with how balanced they are. They never really look like they're ever dragged too far out of position as an organised team. Yeah. And for real, the complacency in terms of that we associated with some of the other teams hasn't really seeped in at all. I know they've had their struggles sometimes in some points in terms of their fluidity, which when you look at their team on paper, you thought that would be the aspect that they would thrive in because of the talents you spoke about. The Luis Suarez's, the Lucho Diaz's of the world, and of course the James Rodriguez. But they're actually allowing those players to be, hey, you can go and win us the game, but what we're going to actually build our actual foundation or is our stability and how solid we are as a team. They are very organised. I love the fact that Matteo understands and recognises they press together. They really do press as a collective. When one goes, they all go. And that, for me, is such an important mechanism people don't recognise. Off of the ball is how you actually win 90% of your games. People talk about the magic that happens in terms of when 10s pick it up or Lucho Diaz picks it up or whatever else. But it's what you do as a collective off of the ball that usually indicates as to how successful you are going to be in a game. And they have a real togetherness. And to be honest, I'm not going to lie, their fans, I know we kind of talk about the Norway fans, the Scotland fans and all the rest of it, but their fans are as passionate and as together as anything I've ever seen. They really appreciate not only the quality that's in the squad, but the space they're in right now as a collective.
Arrowhead was the most Colombia, like a game that was dominated by one fan group. The only thing that can compare is Canada playing Canada, US and US, etc. But last night felt like we were in Bogota, not in Kansas City.
Well, they're saying that this is the hottest ticket. One of the hottest tickets in the World Cup is going to a Colombia game because everybody wants to go. And fun fact for everybody, Colombia is going to be the only team in this tournament that's played in all 3 continents as they play Switzerland and Vancouver.
Lovely.
So that's, in terms of traveling, we'll see how their support goes on that. I did want to give a shout out, though, very quickly to their midfield, because you can't win games of consequence if you don't have a midfield that's really driving it. And I think Puerta and Arias have been excellent, unsung heroes for the team. And yeah, we talk about Lucho Diaz, we talk about James, but if those guys aren't getting the ball in good spots, they just have less impact. So that midfield's been very good for Colombia.
Yeah. Who do you think has the edge going into that Switzerland game? I mean, you look at Colombia's fans, they've been amazing, and so's this team.
I'm going to go slightly with Colombia just because I feel like they have more of an X factor. I feel like they have, like the Luis Diaz, James Rodriguez, if you can get a set piece. I've been impressed with Switzerland just by how steady they are. You know, they don't have that one sexy Galactico, so to speak. Even though I've been really impressed with John Manzambi of the Bundesliga, I think he's been a breakout star. He's only 20. Breel Embolo, you know what you're going to get. He can run in behind. But overall, just a very sturdy, solid side. Most of the guys on the Swiss team are playing in top 5 leagues. The defense, you know what you're going to get. Akanji is a very solid center back. But it just feels like, having watched both teams, Colombia's got this little bit more of a spark. They'll have the home field advantage in this game, which I think is going to give them that extra edge, that extra fight, you know, just hearing the roar of their amazing Colombian crowd. So I give the edge to Colombia.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are sneaky good. And this is actually one of my low-key favorite matchups in the round of 16, because I don't know if there's a clear favorite in this, but they both have their own strengths and weaknesses. I do think that Switzerland and Akanji, who I do adore, I think he's a good center back, there are moments where he's vulnerable, and I think Colombia can take advantage of that, and ultimately I think that they will. So I give the edge to Colombia's.
We see the bracket there. If Argentina win and Colombia win, they'll be meeting each other in the quarterfinals. We saw that in the Copa America in 2024. Argentina were able to win 1-0. Who'd you like in that one if it were to happen, Jaydee?
You're talking about form and confidence right now. Argentina would still take, because obviously the favoritism that they have, the energy in terms of being the champions. But I'm so glad you brought up the Copa America, because if you watch that game, there were large spells in which Colombia showcased they did not only deserve to be here, but actually could beat this team. And I think that the mental edge is going to be super important as to whether or not you recognise that, hey, I know we're going against the defending champions and those that have set the standard in regards to our region for qualifying for the World Cup. But there has to become a point where you say to yourself, we can beat this team. And there is enough individuals with world-class talent, and I especially look at Lucho Diaz. I don't just throw the tag world-class out there. What he showcased domestically and what he showcased in terms of for this team says to me enough about you in terms of your ability that you can go and win a game of football by yourself. Now, Messi is Messi. We know that already, and we're looking further ahead because they still need to handle their business against Egypt. But it's going to be a lot closely contested than people are kind of giving it credit for. And I think Colombia would have an internal confidence that we know this team, we're familiar with this team, and we know what it's like to lose to this team. And sometimes when you lose to a team, it can give you all the energy in the right moments to turn around and say that we can beat this team in the bigger stakes.
I think it goes to penalties, and Argentina wins. Emi Martinez is so good in those situations.
He is.
But I do think it'll be all the things that you said. It's going to be very close. You have two teams that play against each other regularly down in South America. There's a nice rivalry there. And Colombia might feel like they're due. Like, hey, it's our turn to have a nice deep run in this. But I think since they've never been past the quarterfinals before, you're asking a team to do something that they've never done.
Right now, Colombia and Mexico are probably two of the best playing sides in the tournament. Is that fair? Colombia are playing better football than Brazil. And if you watch the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers, I think you could have already seen that Brazil were a disaster there. They finished 5th. But Colombia right now, just with the home crowd, every game feels like a home game. The way that, as you said, the midfield has been doing really well in setting up the attack. The defense plays at a high level. These are guys that play in Serie that have played in the Premier League. So they're used to going up against some of the best players in the world every single week. I just feel like everything's kind of shaping up for Colombia to be, I think it was a dark horse, right? Is that fair to say? Yeah. Considered a dark horse by a lot? This is the dark horse that I think has the chance to go the furthest in this tournament.